There we go. There we go. Back on there.
Okay.
So the only other thing in here is obviously in the winter you need to drain all the water out of the caravan that you got in here, because obviously water and pipe work. You'll come back to it and you'll have 1,000 leaks here, there and everywhere. So you need to drain any fluid out. The only drainage you need to worry about in here is your flush tank. And that's as simple as, you see the little bung there? So that little bung, just pull that out and then the liquid will drain straight out. I won't, just in case there is a bit of water or something in there. I don't want to flood the floor. But then all you do is just use a jug or something underneath it, just to catch the liquid. You can just
take the cassette out. And
obviously take the cassette out. Put a jug underneath there and then just pop that out.
Okay.
And that'll drain. So then you know that there's no liquid or anything in there and it won't freeze out. Obviously the main thing is you don't want to be driving down the road either with, if you put a couple of litres in there or something and you haven't hardly used the toilet. If you have a lot of water in there, there's a chance it'll slosh and end up in the van. So it may just be an idea just to drain some out. You can keep it in a bottle or something, then when you get to your next site, just top it back up again. But again, that'll be something that you'll learn on how much you use it. Some people use the toilets a lot, other people prefer to use the on-site facilities. So again, that's personal preference.
What are the batteries in there for?
The batteries are in there. It's for the electric flush on the outside.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. So keep moving round. So obviously I've shown you back legs on the back. There isn't much else exciting apart from there'll be a lovely number plate there for you, and we will check all your road lights and everything before we send you out today.
Okay. Thank you.
There isn't much else this side. Shut your door. So as you see, it is a lovely split door. So you can, I love these barn style doors. You can stub the top one on and the bottom one closed.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And then bottom one just simply locks onto it like that. And then to release the top of the door, just pull the little handle there. Obviously remember that, because you don't want to come back from the pub and you've had a few Pinots and then my door won't open. If you're ragging it really hard, you'll rip it. So it's just pull the lever and that releases it out of the catch there.
Okay.
Right, so moving down to this side, I'll start with the fridge. These are just the back vents for your fridge. As you'll feel, there is quite a lot of heat coming out of there at the minute. I have got your fridge running on gas at the minute, because your fridge will run on gas or electric.
Yeah.
So that's obviously what the heat, but it's no different than the back of your fridge at home. So if you do happen to walk past it, you think, oh, that's a bit hot. It's no different than your fridge, obviously, because the fridge draws in warm air, has to expel the warm air somewhere, so it all comes out the back.
Yep.
Okay. Right, wheels. Ignore the puddle, because I'll explain that when I get inside. For your wheel nuts, they do need to be torqued to 88 Newton meters on a torque spanner. I have got a torque spanner. Also, our technicians, when they PDI'd it, have torque wrenched your wheels as well. Check it today. If you haven't got one, the main advice is every time you're going to set off on a journey, is just make sure your wheel nuts are tight.
Right.
Because obviously the last thing you want is that someone's been fiddling with them and you haven't been about. You take it down the road and you lose a wheel. If you lose a wheel, expensive plus dangerous. So obviously today we'll do it for you, but then from today onwards, the start of any journey is just make sure they're tight. And obviously you've got the wheel wrench in the front there to get you started, so you can check that they're tight.
Right, okay.
But as I say, I will check them today before we send you on your way.
What does it get out of 10 so far?
Pardon?
What does it get out of 10 so far?
I would say 10.
10.
Very good. Very good.
There's your form.
Oh, lovely.
All right,
Fantastic.
okay. Could I have your driver details so I can get your number plate sorted out,
Yes.
please, Andy? Thank you.
You know, you were just saying about the torque,
Yes.
the tension,
Yeah.
what is it, the strength?
Yeah, Newton meters. It's the pressure that's in it. If I show you.
How do you know you've got it?
So on this one, wherever it's set up, you see it's at 84 here, and then 84 plus 4 here, so that makes 88. So all this does, it'll click when it's tight enough. So, you hear that? So I can't over tighten them, but that's got the right pressure for it. But the main thing is, as long as you just check they're tight, you're halfway there. Yeah. These are ideal. But I mean,
we haven't got one of those.
No.
I think is it like a socket set type
the one that you've got is here. So your one is here.
Oh right, okay.
So it's similar to the fact you can just put it on and just make sure they're tight.
You can't
is the main thing.
Right.
I know they say for cars, but in all the years I've had cars, I've never used one of these, and I've never lost a wheel on my car. So the main thing, as long as they're tight, But these are the best thing, but as long as they're tight, is a good secondary option, put it that way.
Yeah.
And the only other thing on the door here, it does tell you your tyre pressure, so it's 54 psi, and that's with the 2 tyres on here, so it will be a lot higher than your car, but don't forget, there's obviously only 2 wheels on here where you've got 4 on your car.
Yeah.
So, and also for the 88 newton meters, it is in your manual as well, so it does under the changing wheel, it does tell you the newton meter, so you don't have to remember that as such. But I was just explaining, one of these is ideal, but if you haven't got one, the tyre iron's just as good, as long as you just make sure they're tight, you know that you're not going to be losing a wheel down the road.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. Happy with everything on the outside so far?
That's good.
Perfect. Right, I will let you jump in your new purchase. Yeah, sorry about the puddle, I'll explain that when we get inside.
Okay.
Your caravan hasn't sprung a leak. Well, it did spring a leak, but we figured out what it was. So
It was an intentional one, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, sort of. So you remember me saying about the winter time,
Yes.
having to drain everything down. So obviously, I've shown you where the drainage things are in there. Your water system and your heating system has got drainage taps in here. So if I show you them first, let me just put my little slippers on so I don't get no muddy marks in your van.
I forgot to bring the V5 document with me.
Ah.
So I'll have to get it tomorrow when we go home.
Right.
Right, so if you look on the sheet of paper, this is what the technicians will give you. So it'll say that the drain plugs are open. Now I've closed them now, so you're ready to use your van as such, but I will show you where the taps are. So underneath here, do you see the little yellow tap that's down there at the front? So to drain your water system, all you simply do is just lift that yellow tap up.
Okay.
So if I show you now quickly, just lift it up, and you can hear the water running out.
Right.
So that's the one.
Is that to do when you're going?
In the winter.
Oh,
No, this is just for the winter.
Oh, just
It'll be
for
fine
winter.
in the summer. So when it starts freezing outside, you don't want everything to start freezing in here.
Oh, right, yep.
So to drain it down, it's just simply lift that up. It'll drain itself out.
Okay.
But as we found, see the blue and red ones there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're secondary ones as well to drain the system. So when I switched the water pump on, suddenly I got a big puddle outside and I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. So them two there also drain it. So to drain them is just simply where they are now, turn them 180 degrees.
Right.
So that drains it. So again, when you come to the winter and you want to drain all your water out, is just lift that one there and just flip the red and the blue one 180 degrees over.
So we have to do both of them then?
Yeah, do
Right,
the both of them, and that'll drain all your system.
Right.
The only other bits to show you underneath here, this is your water boiler in the corner there for you. Don't really need to worry about it because all the controls and everything are elsewhere for it.
Okay.
So I'll just show you where it's located. Okay. And in the back here, I don't know why they put it so far away. Can you see in the back corner, you see your fuse board there?
Oh, yeah.
So that's your 12 volt fuses. There is a lovely little diagram on the side of it there which lets you know which fuse. So if you've got all your power on and something still isn't working, there is a chance that a fuse has blown.
Right, okay.
So you may have to. But obviously, as I say, we've double checked everything and everything is working. So that certainly is an issue that you've got. Come on. Oh. There we go. Just slip. There we go. That's it. Lovely. We can lower that down now. Right, so you've come in. Obviously, you don't really need to worry too much about them drainage taps. Obviously, I've done that now just to show you, and you know what to do in the winter. So you've come in, they're all dropped. You're ready now to pull your water on.
Okay.
So to get your water into the system. Yeah, I know, it's a bit of a squeeze.
All right.
So to put your main power on, it's as simple as flick it down to van,
All right.
and that'll power everything up in here. Obviously, if you notice when I do that, your lights and everything still stay on.
Yeah.
That's because I've got the 240. But if I unplugged your 240 now, everything would go off.
Right.
But to run it as for when you're on site, when you're living in it, is just click it down to van. And that means then that it's running off your leisure battery as well as your 1240 for charging up, recharging the battery. Simply to turn your pump on is as easy as flip that switch.
What's the pump for? Pump the water in.
Pump for the water.
All right,
the
okay.
water.
Yeah. Okay.
So that puts your pump on.
So is there 2 positions on that switch on the left?
Yeah, so there's off, well that's the 240 as such,
right.
and that's
And then
for the
the
car,
car
but then
will
obviously
go
there's
along.
no car. But you notice the lights will stay on because I've got the 240 plugged in. If I pulled your 248, everything would be going on and off.
Right.
So is it switched to car when we're going along?
Yeah, if you want your fridge to run when you're on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were designed back in the day so you could have your car on the front there and you could power the a caravan off the car. But the only problem with that is if you flatten your car,
Change your car.
you can't go anywhere in the morning because you're stranded. So we don't really advise that. It is there as an option, but you're better off with the 12 volt. That's in the system that you've got in here. I will show you for the fridge when I get to the fridge to show you.
Okay.
All you need to do is just hop back in here, flip that up to car, and then make sure the fridge is on for that battery, and it will hold its temperature and do its thing for you. So
Right, okay.
Right. But that's just while you're driving along.
yes,
Yes.
yeah.
So car for driving along, but when you're actually on site on with the 240 hookup,
Yeah,
you put it to van.
on the van.
And on the middle one, it's just off.
The middle one is off when I've disconnected your 240. So when you're leaving it, you can literally just click it to that, and then that's all your systems
All
off.
your power off. Then.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The light switches are all individual. So there's switches on all the lights. So if you look at the one above you here, there's a black switch on it. And if you look on all of them, all the way round, there is individual switches on each one. So you can have it as Blackpool Illuminations as we got it now, or you can have some subdued lighting and just have a couple of the sockets on. So
Okay.
that's totally up to you. So you've got your pump switched on. Simply to bleed the system is put the tap to cold and just lift it up. It'll run now because I've already bled it through, but what you'll find is it'll do a bit of this, spluttering and splattering. Once it runs constantly, that's your water system primed. So you see now it's running constantly. So that's your cold water now.
Right.
So for your hot water, to fill your hot water tank up, and you simply just turn it to the red, lift it up again. Now what you'll find with this, because I've already bled it now, it's straight through there.
Yeah.
But once you've drained it down in the winter, it can take up to a minute, 2 minutes or so to come through. But I mean, you can see, I'm not going to put my hand underneath it because that looks quite hot, and I can feel the heat because I've already got you, so you can see your water pump. The most important thing with this, so I showed you the hot and the cold, is to always only fill this when you've got your water boiler switched off. Because if you imagine your water boiler is like a kettle, so it's got a 10 litre water tank in there. If you have it switched on before you've got any water in it, it'll burn the element out, a bit like burning your kettle. So the switches for them are all inside here. So I'll switch them off. So you've got the battery charger, the first one here. So I'll just leave that on constantly, because then obviously that's the battery charger. So as soon as your 240 is plugged in, it's recharging up your leisure battery.
Yeah.
Next one across is your water heater. That's the main one. So obviously when you've left a site, I'd get into a habit of coming into here and switching both of them off. So that's your heater and your water heater. And just get into a habit of switching them off, because that's the only damage you can do, is having them switched on with no water in the system.
Right.
That is it. That is the only idiot-proof. Everything else you can't do any damage with. But that's the most important tip I can give you, is when you've left anywhere, switch the two of them off. And then you know you can potter around, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can't do any damage to anything. But
So the water into the tank goes in that container outside?
yes. Yeah. So that's when you put the hot tap on, that's what's filling up this tank in here. So that's why you'll find a lot of air will come through it.
First.
Bear with it, it will come through, because obviously
Yeah.
it's pushing all the air out through the tank and then out through all the piping system, out through your tap. Obviously once it's got all the air out, then it'll come through to water. Once you've got water coming through your hot tap, you can then switch everything on.
How long does it take to get hot water? So, say you arrive at a site at 5 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And you just want to make a cup. Well, you boil a kettle, wouldn't you? But if you want to
Yeah.
say hot water.
Hot water. They vary. I think this took about 15 minutes.
Right. Okay. So
Something
come
along
in,
those lines.
turn the pump on, turn the electric to 240.
Yeah.
Turn these two on,
Yeah.
turn them on, and then wait 15 minutes for hot water.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
But test it. But you'll see how long you go. You've got to
Right.
think. So it's
So-
inside here. There's just a tank, fills up with 10 litres of water, and then heats it up. Obviously, so when you're in the shower and you've drained it all down, you've then got to wait, because it'll refill back up with cold water and then reheat it. Obviously, the times will vary on how cold your water is that you got in it.
Yeah.
So if you imagine if you've got an Aperol that's sat out there all day, it will get quite warm in the sunlight.
Yeah.
So then you may find it may only take 10 minutes to heat up.
Yeah. Okay.
So inside here, so that's your battery heater, your hot water, and your heater. Okay. Obviously, if you don't want your heater